Hello and welcome to the Messehalle here in Leipzig for the 7th and final qualifier of the 17th season of FEI World Cup Driving. It really does all come down to this for several of these drivers to see who will go on to the FEI World Cup Driving finals in just a couple of weekends' time in Bordeaux in France. Hello and welcome to you. I'm John Kyle, talking you through this world-class field, of course led by Boyd Excel. Last year's winner here in Leipzig. He is of course safely through to the finals with 3 under his belt. Already this season he is on the maximum of 30 points. The big competition here really is for Glenn Geertz. Glenn has 2 results so far and he needs, we understand, to finish in 2nd place today to ensure that he goes on to Bordeaux. Also right there in the running, Jerome Woutaz. Jerome Woutaz has 2 7-point finishes so far, so he's on 14 points. Points here today will move him up into the qualification zone. IJsbrand Chardon, he's been having a very good season, of course, a former champion in his own right, as is Koos de Ronde. Koos de Ronde hasn't just nailed down the win yet this season, but it is for him still 3rd on the standings going into the leg here at Leipzig. Jörg von Stein and Chester Webber drive here at Leipzig on wildcards, and there's Glenn Geertz down in 9th at the moment on 9 points, but if he could pick up the 7 points for a 2nd place finish today, and on the first day times and scores, that is very, very possible for the Belgian driver. He could move up right into contention. So Koos de Ronde, he had a tough go on day 1, so he starts first. They come in reverse order of merit. Chester Webber on his wild card, rounding up his first full season in a long time driving here on the European Indoor World Cup. So von Stein also on the wall here. And there you can see Glenn Geertz. He was actually the fastest driver across here. Glenn Geertz needs today to finish in 2nd place. At least he needs points today in order to make it through to the finals in Bordeaux. Jerome Woutaz, another very fast driver. He could easily nail down his Bordeaux ticket today. And last year's winner here in Leipzig was, of course, the master, not only of indoor, but of outdoor and of all forms of driving, Australia's Boyd Excel. Dr. Wolfgang Asendorf has set the track here. We've got 13 numbered obstacles, we've got 2 driving obstacles. We don't have a speed box here in Leipzig. And what's also interesting is for one of the first times this season, we're actually going to have a difference between the first course and the drive-off track. The best 3 after the first round back the drive-off competition to decide today's top 3 results. So of course they're all looking to finish inside that top 6 in the final standings here after Leipzig. It is the best 6 who go forward as eligible competitors for the FEI World Cup finals in Bordeaux. And it's very soon as well, just 2 weekends' time. Bordeaux will play host to those finals. Jeroen Houtemans, who was our designer in Mechelen, was announced at around Christmas time as the designer of those championships in Bordeaux this season. There's Chester Webber and his team just talking through the track here. Chester's had some very good drives indoor this season, hasn't just been able to make it through to one of the drive-offs. 14-time national champion and twice world silver medalist, but Chester is just seeing, as a number of people who've come in on wild cards and stuff during the season have seen and understood, just what a difference there is in indoor driving. The very best in the sport have really moved the game along in the last few years, but they're all chasing one man, and that's Boyd Excel as well. So some of the representative times, 1:45 was the time across the ground that Glenn Geertz drove here on Friday night as the fastest of the night. Boyd Excel drove penalty-free 1:48. It's Ijsbrand Chardon, together with his backstepper Martin, just looking through the final obstacle before they clear the arena, ready for our first turnout to come forward. Ijsbrand in a very strong second place in the standings, and his son Bram Chardon third at Geneva and winner at Mechelen in his first World Cup season. That's the man they're chasing. Last year's winner here in Leipzig, defending FEI World Cup champion as well. Between Ijsbrand Chardon, Kusterond and Boyd Excel, we cover probably more than 10 of the 17 runnings in terms of champions of the FEI World Cup Driving Series. Dr. Asendorf just indicating that everything is okay down on the ground to the jury, which means we'll have our first combination forward in just a few moments' time here. Pieces in place, we're ready to get on here with the seventh final leg. Driving for the seventh season. By the end of today, we will have 6 athletes qualified to go to the FEI World Driving Finals in Bordeaux in France in just 2 weekends' time. There is doubt that Boyd back to defend his title. Seven-time World Cup champion, 4-time world champion, including at the most recent Outdoor World Championships at Breda in the Netherlands in 2016. So currently third on the standings. He won in Budapest, fourth at Olympia, third at Mechelen. Kusterond, third at the two most recent runnings of the FEI World Cup Driving Finals. He was the 2013 World Cup Finals winner and has been third on no less than 4 occasions. Second in the outdoor qualification standings this year with a win at Saumur, podium also at Windsor and Breda and Horst. Koos is a world team gold medalist on 3 occasions and a gold medalist at the European Championships with the Dutch team at Gothenburg last summer. So Kusterond is going to set the standard here tonight. He had a tough day the other day. He drove a 1:51, a very competitive time, but 4 on the ground meant it was 20 penalty seconds to add. Picks up this cone at 5, drifts very far to the left. He does push the cone out of position, but luckily the ball stays in place. So into the first marathon obstacle, 8F in the first round, and the drive off the F control is dropped from both marathon style obstacles. See, tight turn back here now for D. That's the E control. Keeping an eye on the clock now as he picks off the F control. He's just overshot. Leader's very nippy coming back to him there. 75 seconds away, but he has had 1 knockdown inside that obstacle as well. Koos picking up the pace. He knows, based on the first night, that he can't afford these knockdowns. We see another ball on the ground there as well. Might have just knocked number 4 as he passed it on his way to 8, but it still counts, so he's on 10 penalty seconds. Long wide sweeper here, back to E. Tight left-handed through F and away at 124 seconds. Not far to go now for the 2013 World Cup champion Kusterond. Drove the track in just over 150 the other night with 20 to add. You can see it's tight enough in here. There's a lot of cones. They've got to thread their way, be very, very careful. And that is what you've got to be careful of. That's what they'd call in tennis an unforced error there for Kusterond, putting him on 15 to add. So he drives a 1:55, he has 15 to add, it's 1:70.65. So Kusterond, in fact, having 2 balls out of order, as it were. He had 1 plumb plane in the marathon obstacle at 6 and then caught the cone at 4, caught the cone at 2, going past them later on the course. So Kusterond really needed to finish second or first today to improve his score. He'll finish the series on 20 points. Should be enough to keep him in the top 6 to go to Bordeaux. We welcome forward Chester Webber. Chester drives here in a wild card, so he can't improve his position. Chester 8th on the standings coming into Leipzig. 14-time US national champion. The championships are currently held at his Live Oak International in Ocala, Florida. 3-time world silver medalist as an individual, and team silver and bronze as well. Finished third in the outdoor qualification standings this year. Drove a 160 on the first night and had 10 to add. We're getting off to a strong start. Chester's trying a couple of different tactics this season. There was certainly one show where people were having big scores on day one. Chester came in, drove a real steady day two, that in any other year or series might have delivered him a place in the drive-off, but the rest of them just upped their game to an extent that Chester, unfortunately, ended up sitting out that drive-off as well. He's just nudged the first part of this marathon obstacle for an early 5. This tight 360. Again, the leader's just overshooting. Turning back to the E control. 75 seconds coming out of this obstacle for Cousteron. 70 seconds for Chester Webber, so he's up on the clock. Is carrying those 10 penalty seconds at the moment. If he can keep the pace and keep it to 10, he could stay in front of Cousteron on the order. Straight down the middle here for D. He's had a knockdown in this obstacle as well, so he's on 15. That E, that'll be the last control in the drive-off. There's this final gate here now. F, the leaders pop through it. And Chester is away at 123 seconds. So time-wise, he's back level with Cousteron, but he's now carrying 20. So Coust looking set to pick up a place here in the final analysis. Pushing on all the way home, Chester Webber bringing 20 penalties to add to a time of 1:53. So it's 1:73.39, including 20 penalty seconds for Chester Webber for the United States of America. So that's into second place at the moment, behind Cousteron. So unless Coust finishes in second place or better today, he won't be improving the 20 points he holds on the lead, on the standings. It's been super to have Chester all the way over from America for this whole series in 2017, 2018. He has qualified a number of times in the past, but this is the first time in a while he's taken up his invitation. I hope if he qualifies again, he'll be back to build on the experience he and his team have gained this year. We welcome forward now our second wildcard driver of the day, Jörg von Stein. Jörg drove clear on day one in a 1:62. He's fifth on the standings with 15 points. He could easily see his place slip through his grasp today. He can't pick up points on his wildcard. Jörg, the three-time German champion, was a silver medalist with the German team at the Gothenburg Euros and individually fifth, and a silver medalist at the World Games with the German team in 2014 as well. Jörg actually drove really well the other night for that fault-free round. 1:62, just that little bit off the pace. I'm still sure he was very, very pleased with the performance of his horses on the night. So he's going one block further out to come back to the E control. The first two have come on that tight 360. And he's away at 67 seconds, so it has worked for him. Jörg von Stein. He's fast. Can he keep it neat, tidy, and clear? Very little respite. Back into the marathon obstacle now at 9. First two drivers were leaving this at 1:23, 1:24, that kind of country, but both of them had penalties by now. Keeping on the left through the E control. Keeps working left, saves a lot of time rather than changing rein, and he's away at 121 seconds. And remember, still nothing to add. Jörg von Stein is putting himself right in contention tonight. Although he can't pick up any points, he can act as a spoiler, taking those points off the table for somebody else. Two drives, two clears. Jörg von Stein is clear in 1:49.62. He's not only clear, but he is very, very competitive. That is within 3 or 4 seconds of the fastest drive here over this self-same track on Friday night in Leipzig. Jörg von Stein, he may be driving on a wild card, but he is going to finish his season on a high note here in Leipzig. No doubt about it. That was super driving Friday and today from the three-time German champion.
Viermal Weltmeister, zweimal Europameister, 27-mal holländischer Meister, meine Damen und Herren, der Altmeister an den Leinen aus den Niederlanden,
So absolutely foot perfect from the German driver here tonight. Jörg von Stein is not just throwing down a marker about his indoor driving, but about the way he's going to be approaching this 2018 outdoor season, looking of course towards those FEI World Equestrian Games in Tryon, North Carolina, the United States of America in September. Currently second on the standings, IJsbrand Schadow. His son Bram won Mechelen. IJsbrand was the winner at Olympia. He's the World Cup champion in 2015, 2016, his third victory in this series. IJsbrand, a 4-time world champion as well. Had just the one ball the other night. He drove a 152 with 5 to add. Won his second European title at Gothenburg this summer. He's the 27-time Dutch national champion. This team are just so nippy here tonight. They are really working well for him. Just pushing out far to the left there, taking the knockdown as they go through the E control. They go through the control at 65 seconds, so they're 1 or 2 seconds up on Jörg von Stein, but the penalties put them back behind. Yeah, we're right now in the qualification zone for the drive-off. The best 3 drivers from the first round come back. IJsbrand's just maybe taken the pace back a tiny bit inside this marathon obstacle in comparison to the first. He doesn't want to risk another penalty. He's through the F control. He's clearing away at 117 seconds, so that is well up on Jörg von Stein. He's maybe clawed back his penalty, but three super fast drivers still to come, bucking for their place in the drive-off. Wouters, Glenn Geertz and Boyd Excel. So just the one cones to go and on towards home. It's going to be 5 seconds to add to a time of 1:46. That'll put him on 1:51, and by the merest margin falls behind Jörg von Stein. It really was nip and tuck on the clock between them. But that one knockdown puts IJsbrand into current second position.
151.42 seconds, 5 seconds included. Second place, zweiter Platz, IJsbrand.
So Jörg von Stein has driven our only clear so far, and it's good enough to put him into the lead, at least fourth position.
Die drei Besten dürfen ins Drive-Off im FEI World Cup Driving in Leipzig.
So unlikely to be any improvement to IJsbrand's 22 points on the standings. Based on that result, falling behind Jörg von Stein with 3 left to go. And there it was, the knockable that cost him the lead so far. Jörg von Stein's lead of 1:49 is very good. It really is going to put the pressure on these top three. And the pressure is already on this man, Glenn Geertz. Glenn has to finish in second place today, so he not only has to qualify for the drive-off, he then has to be faster than everyone except Boyd Excel, at best, to qualify for Bordeaux. Glenn, part of the Belgian team that won bronze at Gothenburg. This is his 3rd season as a full member of the World Cup. It's the top 10 outdoor drivers in the world who qualify for the World Cup. He was the runner-up at Valkenswaard and 3rd at Beekbergen Outdoors last summer. Got into the drive-off at Olympia. He was 2nd there. So close to the drive-off at his home show in Mechelen as well, but he drove there on a wild card. Still clear and through the F control at 64 seconds. So he's going the right way about pinning his name down for the drive-off. Glenn Geertz for Belgium. So a couple of different routes been taken to that C control. Yeah, we saw Jörg von Stein stay on the left rein all the way. 116 seconds there for Glenn Geertz. Again, just that 1 second faster than IJsbrand Chardon, and he's doing it without a penalty to add. Drifts through that corner, but straightens up just in time to catch the cone straight as a die. Jörg von Stein is clear in 1:49.62. Glenn Geertz, if he is clear and faster than Jörg von Stein, he's guaranteed the drive-off. He is guaranteed the drive-off. Is he going to get the second place he needs to go to Bordeaux? .43.87. He takes 6 seconds out of Jörg von Stein's fast time. And now that is the fastest we've seen anyone drive Dr. Asendorf's track this weekend here in the Messehalle in Leipzig. So, Glenn Geertz one step closer to qualifying for his first ever World Cup finals. Here's one more drive around this track, slightly shortened. And third will be, we think, no good. It has to be second or better. He knew from that last cone. Look at that reaction, Glenn Geertz. The pressure is enormous, and the relief to have just got that first hurdle into the drive-off. Now they can concentrate on that. Here's another very fast driver though. Jerome Vuitaz drove clear in 1:50 for second place on day one. Jerome's been second in Budapest, second at Mechelen, fourth in Geneva, second at the 2017 finals. This is Jerome's third World Cup season as well, but he's already qualified twice for the finals. Swiss driver with his Swiss-bred horses, the Freiburgers. (64, 65 seconds). That kind of country coming out of this obstacle is competitive. And he does it, he's right on the glide path. 65 seconds for Jerome Vuitaz. But what that means is, if he's not appreciably faster than Glenn Geertz, he absolutely cannot afford a knockdown. Just a little bit ginger going in there. Maybe scrubbed a second or so. Trying to keep them moving forward as fast as possible whilst being as careful as possible. He's away 114 seconds. Again, it's good. He doesn't yet have the margin, though, to have a knockdown. It has to be clear. Because remember, Jörg von Stein is breathing down his neck as well. Jörg would love to be in this drive-off here in front of a home crowd in Leipzig. .143 to beat. 149 to beat to guarantee the drive-off. He's that little bit slower than Glenn Geertz, but he's in the drive-off. Jerome Vuitaz for Switzerland is also going to pick up points today that will propel him to a 3 out of 3 start in the FEI World Cup finals. His third season, and likely to be his third start at the finals. Jerome just seemed to be driving a little bit at 8/10. I think there is more here to come when it comes to the drive-off. At the moment, Jerome just wanted to make sure he was in the drive-off. Then he can go for the big points. 7 points for second place would put him on 21. 5 points for third would put him on 19. And both point scores good enough on our calculations to propel him to the finals. And regardless of today, this man is safely there. Already 3 counting wins in the bag. Stuttgart, Stockholm and Geneva. Boyd was the winner here last year. Won the Outdoor Qualification League. Won 7 outdoor events, including Windsor, Aachen and his own show at Valkensvaart. Boyd XL is 7-time World Cup champion, 4-time world champion. Last season, drove 7 and won 5 World Cup qualifiers. Drove faster than anyone else, drove clear on the first night, and that was including just having to really take a pull and get the leaders to concentrate coming into the second marathon obstacle that he reckons cost him about 3 seconds. Once again, just proving that he is separated from the rest of the competition often by a goodly amount of clear blue water. Fastest out of here has been 63 seconds. Oh, he's just got hung up there for a moment. He's still okay, 63, 64 seconds. But just like Vutaz, he's in the position at the moment where he hasn't built up enough of a margin to afford a knockdown. He's maybe got a knockdown in hand over Jörg von Stein to still be in the drive-off, but they're also looking for that starting position in the drive-off. If Boyd was to finish with the 3rd best time, he'd have to go out of the ring, turn almost straight around and bring these horses back in to do the drive-off. That's a situation that Kuster Rond has been in a couple of times at the finals in Bordeaux. And it's certainly to their advantage to just have that little bit of a break. So it is to his advantage to go as quickly as possible to try and beat Glenn Geertz's 1:43. 113, 114 seconds here, still exceptionally close. Two more cones between him and knowing where he will start in the drive-off. The fact that he will be in the drive-off seems pretty assured at the moment. 10 seconds to get home. Boyd XL, 1:43 to beat. He's behind Glenn Geertz, he's behind Vutaz. 1:44.34. Boyd XL will have to turn right around and come back in for this drive-off in just a few minutes' time. So Boyd and his team already analysing where they could try and pick up that little bit of time. The margin between the top 3 after the first round in this competition is half a second, covering Glenn Geertz, Jeroen Vutaz and Boyd XL. All clear, all fast, all faster than our fastest drive here on Friday night over the self-same track. But who can find that little bit more, because the pressure is on. Boyd XL is going to come in here now. He's been backed into a corner, and that could be when he's at his most dangerous. He is going to absolutely go for it in this drive-off. Glenn Geertz, first or second, he goes to Bordeaux. Jeroen Vutaz, now that he's in the drive-off, is assured of going to Bordeaux. Jörg von Stein is going to be classified and finish with 4th place today, but as a wildcard driver, he doesn't get any points. IJsbrand, Chardon and Kuster Rond picking up a few points today, and we'll see how that affects them. IJsbrand should still be going to Bordeaux. Kuster Rond, though, we'll see whether he's still got enough on his 20 points to be one of the top 6. Chester Webber on his wildcard today adds nothing to his score of 11 across the season. That just leaves him outside the qualification zone at the moment. So there is Glenn Geertz in the centre, IJsbrand Chardon alongside. The situation at the moment in the standings: Boyd Excel, IJsbrand Chardon, Koos de Ronde, Bram Chardon and Jeroen Woutaz are guaranteed qualifiers for Bordeaux. If Glenn Geertz comes third today, Jörg von Stein goes to Bordeaux. If Glenn comes second, he goes to Bordeaux. It is that close. 5 points for third, 7 points for second. 5 points would put Glenn Geertz on 14 for the series against Jörg von Stein's 15. Picking up 7 points today would put him 1 point in front, 16 points, and giving him the final qualification spot for Bordeaux. So the starting order for the drive-off based on times in that first round. Boyd Excel will have to come back first, then Jeroen Woutaz, then Glenn Geertz, driving for his place in the Bordeaux finals in just a fortnight's time. But just half a second separated them. 1:44.34 was Boyd Excel's first round time. Glenn Geertz 1:43.87.
FEI World Cup Driving vor Herz, die letzte Station vor dem Finale in Porto.
So just those slight changes to the course, the F controls being taken off both marathon obstacles. It'll allow them to break away that little bit quicker. It'll just change the dynamic of the course as well. It's always very interesting how just taking out one gate can really change the way a course drives and the sort of speeds and times that are possible. And the other thing is, this is fresh ground. Everyone drove the first round track on the first night. This is the first time anyone gets to drive it without the F controls. They'll have analysed it, thought about their tactics, their plan, their route, but this is the first time that anyone will be able to lay down a marker of how this course will actually drive on the night, on the ground. Well, not first round, but three of the fastest and most exciting drivers perhaps on the entire circuit. Glenn Geertz who has it all to play for. Jerome Vutaz, who secured his place at Bordeaux simply by making it into this drive-off, but he'd still like to pick up big points today. And Boyd Excel, surprisingly, by half a second, down in third place after the first round. Can he make up the difference and take back Leipzig for the win? To back up the win he had here 12 months ago. So here he is, the trailblazer for the drive-off here in Leipzig, Boyd Excel. His last World Cup drive before he goes to defend his title in 2 weeks' time in Bordeaux. 7 times he's won this series and lifted aloft the Jack Pemberton Trophy. First ever athlete from driving sport to win the FEI's Best Athlete Award. So that half a second coming into it, one of the first times this season we've carried the first round time forward. And because it's balanced so closely, there's no doubt about it, nobody can afford a knockdown here this evening. So he sets up now with this 360 for his final control. He goes out 2 blocks, he goes out a bit wider. He's... Well, that has entirely torn it. He's still clear, but he's wasted a lot of time. And that is potentially, of course, played into Glenn Geertz's hands. A second place would take a place at Bordeaux for Glenn Geertz at the expense of Jörg von Stein. Oh, he's nudged it, but it wobbled and it stayed. Heading away, 2:55 on the clock. Still nothing to add, that's important. It could be enough to keep him in touch if somebody else has an error. It's top 3 today, he can't improve his points score. He will go to the finals as the winner of the standings. Picks up a late 5 as well. So Boyd Excel.
Schade, einmal abgerutscht bei jedem, das kostet nur Zeit, einmal Fehler bei 13, das kostet 5 Strafsekunden. Und er kriegt jetzt einen riesigen Leipziger Applaus. Boyd Excel als Gewinner!
So, including the 5 penalties, it's 2:87.03 for Boyd Excel. That's what they'll have to take on. super shot there to just give you an idea of the power and the speed of these turnouts. So Jerome Vuitaz starting that quarter of a second faster. He's away, picking up his clock from the 1:44 he scored in the first round. Second this season in Budapest, second at Mechelen. Might tonight be the night for a win for Jerome Vuitaz. So just felt he was playing a little bit cautiously in the first round. Now he's driving with a real chance of a win as well because of that error from Boyd Excel. Goes this different route, goes out wide and left back to the C control, stays left to filter down through the D gate. Changes to a tight right, he goes again out that one further block. That's the E control, that's him done and dusted. 2:04 on the clock. So Boyd Excel was 2:55 leaving this obstacle. Loops back on the right rein here for the E control, the final control to be taken on in this drive off. 2:47 out of the walls. Just has that moment before they really go to get straight for the bridge, of course. So Jerome could even have this last ball and take over the lead, but he is putting a lot of pressure on Glenn Geertz. 2:78.45 across 2 rounds of driving for Jerome Vuitaz and into the lead for the Swiss man here. Drives a double clear in the final qualifier of the season. It's his 3rd full season. He has qualified for his 3rd finals. And he has every intention of being as competitive as possible at those finals in just 2 weeks' time. So the big number for this next man to go is 2:87.03. If Glenn Geertz can be faster than that time, he is going to Bordeaux. If he's slower than that, Jörg von Stein goes to Bordeaux. Just looking back at some highlights of some super driving from Jerome Vuitaz, just showing why he is always one to watch. 2 second place finishes already this season. He picks up points today for top 3 guaranteed. In fact, now he's top 2 guaranteed and could so easily be today's winner. So on course, Glenn Geertz. Picked up 10 penalties on Friday night, but drove clear in the first round today to not only make his way through to the drive-off, to be the fastest driver of the first round today as well. This is only Glenn's 2nd drive-off of the season, but he's making it count when he needs to. He was the runner-up in Olympia just before Christmas in London. 2:04 on the clock, finishing with this obstacle for Wouters a minute ago. 2:03, 2:04 again for Wouters, just showing how close these drivers are. Just threw it very wide around the bend into that cone at 8, but again, just managed to get the straightness as required. Very nice little slalom there through to the D control. 2:47 was Wouters' time as well. There is nothing between them. But quite securely in front of Boyd Excel. And if it came down to it, Glenn would be happy with second place because it'll take him to Bordeaux, but he'd love the win. And he is still within grasping distance of it. Glenn Geertz coming towards home. 2:78 to beat, but he has those penalty seconds picked up just a moment ago, passing the cone at 5. Glenn Geertz drives 2:76. He drives the fastest. With the penalties, it's 2:86. And my goodness, it is less than 1/10 of a second that sees him take the second place he needs to go to Bordeaux over Boyd Excel. 2:86.91 for Glenn Geertz. Boyd Excel 2:87.03. 0.12 of a second. The difference between Glenn Geertz going to Bordeaux and not.
Meine Damen und Herren, wir räumen ein bisschen auf und gleich sehen wir uns wieder zur großen und feierlichen Siegerehrung. Und so wie Sie wissen es, die Fahrer feiern sich gerne selbst in der Siegerehrung. Bis gleich.
So Jeroen Wouters takes the win today, his first win of the season, and takes that win onto the finals in just 10 days' time. Glenn Geertz is second, securing his place at Bordeaux. Boyd Excel third today, and goes to defend his title at the finals. Jörg von Stein misses out today. He is going to finish 7th on the standings and thus outside the qualification zone for Bordeaux. IJsbrand Chardon and Cousteron, their points coming into today's Leipzig leg were enough to ensure their participation at Bordeaux. Chester Webber on a wild card today, finishes 7th, adds nothing to his total, and will finish the standings just outside the qualification zone as well. So here now confirmation of those running scores that we were looking at. Boyd Excel, Jeroen Wouters, IJsbrand Chardon, Cousteron, Bram Chardon and Glenn Geertz are our 6 qualified drivers after 7 legs of Supersport. Jörg von Stein misses out by 1 point, and then it's Edouard Simédé, Chester Webber and French national champion Ben Eo. Well, what a thrilling class, balanced on an absolute knife edge. So rare to see Boyd Excel come through in 3rd place for a drive-off and have to drive first. And then to make that error in the first marathon obstacle, left the door wide open for exactly what Glenn Geertz needed, at least a 2nd place finish. As we said, Glenn had made the first step on his road to Bordeaux by merely qualifying for this, but the job wasn't done. 3rd place wasn't good enough. It would have left him a point behind Jörg von Stein, and watching Bordeaux in 2 weeks' time on TV. Instead, he'll be there, he'll be driving in his third season, his first finals. But this man, he's driven three series, and this will be his third final. He's consistently qualified, and he qualifies this year with a win at the final leg here in Leipzig. Jerome Vutaz, he's got to be a man to watch. He could easily be in the top 3 for the drive-off on the final day in Bordeaux in just a couple of weeks' time. But let's not forget, they haven't had quite the day today, but IJsbrand Chardon, former champion, winner at Olympia, Costa Rod, former champion, winner out in Hungary this year in Budapest. They are hungry too. They want to go and win those finals, and they are going to put all the pressure on. It's going to be super sport. And like all the best athletes in all of our disciplines, Jerome asks for as many of the plaudits as go to him to go to his super team of Freiburger horses as well. So the presentation party just joining us here in the arena at the Messehalle in Leipzig. We'll bring you those awards in just a few minutes' time. Don't forget also today, Longines FEI World Cup Jumping. Starting at 2:50 Central European time. 1 hour in front of the UK, 6 hours in front of the East Coast of the United States of America.
Die Fahrer des FEI World Cup Driving vor der Leipzig 2018.
So the parade of the athletes from today's Leipzig qualifier starts with 7th place, Chester Webber for the United States of America. An incredibly busy winter season for Chester. Of course, coming over from Florida, he was going to do this World Cup. He wanted to drive as many of them as possible, and he's done exactly that. Picked up huge experience. He'll take back to his outdoor series, starting with the US National Championships coming up in March at his show at Live Oak International, that also plays host to a leg of the Longines FEI World Cup Jumping North American League. And Chester, he'll want to go one better. He was within touching distance of gold the last time the World Games was in the United States of America in 2010, and they come back to the USA this year, the FEI World Equestrian Games in Tryon, North Carolina in September. Following into the ring, former World Cup champion, world and European medalist Cousteron, and now coming through the arch, former World Cup champion, world champion, European champion, IJsbrand Shadow. Boyd Excel comes onto the arch, our third place finisher here in Leipzig. The man with the plan, Glenn Geertz. He had to finish second, he did exactly that. He's off to the finals for the first time in his career. There's Cousteron, we'll see him at the finals as well. Koos was the winner at Budapest this season. Otherwise, it just hasn't quite gone his way. He'll hope that everything comes good at Bordeaux. He's been in the drive-off plenty of times, 4 times third at the World Cup finals, plus his win. Jorg von Stein. Somewhat bitter result for him. He had to drive here on a wild card and not able to pick up points. He's lost his place at Bordeaux, finishing 7th on the standings. And there's today's winner, the Swiss man from Saint-Branchet in the Valais Canton, Jérôme Vutaz.
Is FEI World Cup Driving 4 in hands. Willkommen zu Siegen. Der 7. Platz auf the 7th place with 18 Meister zu Jupiter Carlton und die United States of America aus den Vereinigten Staaten von Amerika, Chester Weber.
So in the arena, recognizing our athletes.
Die ersten Gratulationen gibt es traditionell von der Jury vertreten durch Elimar Tunatz. Die Gratulationen FEI World Cup Driving zunächst durch den Geschäftsführer von Leipzig, Peter Peters. Die Gratulationen durch den FEI Director of Driving, Angel Bandera de Bello. Gratulationen durch den Landkreis und Vorsitzender der Verbandsversammlung des Verbandsvorstandes der Ostdeutschen Sparkassenverbandes, Michael Harig. Die Gratulation durch den geschäftsführenden Präsidenten des Ostdeutschen Sparkassenverbandes, Dr. Michael Ehrlich. Es gratuliert der Vorstandsvorsitzende der Sparkasse Leipzig, Dr. Harald Langenfels. Gratulation des Vorstandsvorsitzenden des Regionlands, Norbert Stiers. Die Gratulation durch den Logi Manager Rainer Eckertz. Und die Gratulationen vom Geschäftsführer der Leipziger Messe GmbH, Martin Wagner, und unserem Chef, dem geschäftsführenden Gesellschafter der Marketing GmbH, der Volker Wolf. Der 6. Platz geht in die Niederlande, 6th place, representing the Netherlands, Bonus Chiron Zamoro and Theo Tommy, an der Kunde von Kurs der Runde, Netherlands.
So amongst the presentation party, FEI Director of Driving, Manuel Bandera de Miel, as well as Volker Wolf from the organising committee here at the Partner Fair Leipzig. Representatives also of Sparkasse Bank, presenting sponsors of the big classes here. So Kusteron being congratulated on his 6th place finish. Here's IJsbrand Chardon, who finished 5th here. We'll see IJsbrand at the finals in Bordeaux. So just coming into centre ring now to get his congratulations, just off the podium today, and as a result just losing his place in Bordeaux. Jörg von Stein for Germany. Drove clear on Friday, drove clear today, drove clear and fast today as well.
Jörg von Stein.
Boyd Excel, last year's winner here in Leipzig, the defending FEI World Cup Driving champion, comes forward to receive recognition for a 3rd place finish today.
Der 2. Platz aus Belgien. Damit genug Punkte gesammelt für das Finale in Bordeaux. Maestoso Silver Challenge. Representing Belgium in 2nd place, Glenn Geertz.
So picking up 7 points today for second place, enough to bring him to the finals for the first time in his career. Glenn Geertz of Belgium.
Aus Belgien, Glenn Geertz. Und meine Damen und Herren, die FEI World Cup Driving vorher sind die Station aus in Leipzig bei der Bahn am 4. Mit Bildtypen, Eva 3 von den Nikolon und René, alle CH, alle Schweizer Pferde. Und auf dem Bock aus der Schweiz, Jerome Wutas.
First win of the season, and what a time to pick it up. At the final qualifier, Jerome Wutas goes into the finals with the best possible start. Winner here in Leipzig. The Swiss driver has driven 3 times in this series, qualified for the finals on 3 occasions. And now the anthem of Switzerland plays here in Leipzig for tonight's winner, Jerome Wutas. Super result for Jerome in an incredibly competitive class here at Leipzig, as the qualification for the finals went right down to the wire. Members of the presentation party presenting amongst the winners loot here. A Longines watch for Jerome. Our presentation party of Peter Peters, the organising committee representative Volker Wolf, and the FEI director of driving just stepping forward to add his congratulations now, Manuel Bandiero de Meo. Und meine Damen und Herren, Ehrenpreise natürlich nicht nur für den Fahrer, sondern auch für seine Partner, nämlich die 4 Vierte. Und die gibt es vom Seaside Park Hotel, dem First-Class-Traditionshaus des Herzen Leipzigs. Äpfel und Böhmen für die 4 Freunde von der Kutsche. Ganz herzlichen Glückwunsch, Jerome Wutas aus der Schweiz für den Sieg im FEI World Cup Driving Vorhand in Leipzig. Glückwunsch an die Platzierten. Jetzt, meine sehr verehrten Damen und Herren, wollen wir Sie alle gemeinsam feiern auf der großen feierlichen Ehrenrunde. Angeführt von Jerome Wutas und seinem Freiberger Gespann aus der Schweiz. Auf geht's! So it's lap of honour time as we conclude this FEI World Cup qualifier and the qualification season for 2017-2018. We now know the 6 drivers who will go forward to the finals in Bordeaux in just a fortnight's time, including today's winner, Jeroen Vuitaz, today's runner-up, Glenn Geertz, Boyd Excel, IJsbrand Chardon, Koos de Ronde, and Bram Chardon, winner at Mechelen. They will be the 6 who've qualified from the series. We'll see whether Boyd Excel can pick up an amazing 8th World Cup final, whether Koos de Ronde and IJsbrand Chardon might add another title to their tally, or whether it will be a first-time winner from amongst Glenn Geertz, Jeroen Vuitaz or Bram Chardon. Join us for all that action, and don't forget later on this afternoon, Longines FEI World Cup jumping here from Leipzig as well, starting at 10 minutes to 3 this afternoon. But for the moment, from me, John Kyle, our thanks to our host broadcasters for their great coverage of this super sport here of FEI World Cup Driving. And for the moment, from Leipzig, goodbye.